Morning, good afternoon, good evening, drone pilots, wherever you are, whenever you are. Today I'm going to tell you how to reverse the direction of the speed controller in software. So what we're going to do is connect to the speed controllers through the USB. And in order to do that, we have to configure something on the flight controller, which is going to be in the settings. So it doesn't work automatically, but if you have the right parameter file loaded, it will work. And ESC, it's called pass-through. So if you go to the ArduPilot webpage, it'll explain to you how to configure the flight controller so that when you connect the USB to the flight controller, it'll pass through the flight controller and go to the speed controllers. So you can you can read this manual or just just use the parameters we have from the class parameter file. But basically there's this one parameter here called servo BL heli auto that needs to be set to 1 to enable pass-through. So if your flight controller is properly configured, then you can pass through. So let's see if I can make that work. So I'm going to close everything out. We have nothing here but the video record. So first I'm going to power on the drone. You hear it power on. And this is a drone that has a flight controller and the speed controllers connected to it. And we wait for all the beeps to finish and the drone gets powered on. And then this ESCs go doot. That means that they're happy and they've booted. Now I plug in the USB to the drone and it should be connected. And if everything is configured properly, I can open up a website called esc-configurator.com. That is a JavaScript that actually will do the flashing to the firmware for you. Now, in the Darth Vader video, we actually flash firmware of BlueJay so we can change the sound. However, if you just want to change the settings and you want to use the stock firmware, then we don't need the Darth Vader video. We just need to change the settings. So what we need to do is disconnect, sorry. Scratch that. First, we have to open port selection. So it says right here, Maytech 405TE-BD shot paired, connect. And it may say something different, but we're going to leave that alone for now. So now the website is connected through the USB to the flight controller, and the flight controller is connected to the speed controller. So if I click connect, I'm connected to the speed controllers. I want to show the log, which is like the terminal, and then I click read settings. And now the the computer will be reading the settings from the speed controller. We have speed control ESC2, ESC3, ESC4, and it's flaky. So you always have to do it again. So click read settings again, and it should read all 4 of them. Okay, so we have ESC1, ESC2, ESC3, ESC4. So now it's just like Mission Planner for the ESCs. So we can go through and change any of these settings that we want. And we're not going to go into all of them except for the direction. So if you want, you can reverse the direction like that. So now let's do that. So I'm changing the direction that they're going to spin. I click right settings.
You forgot 4.
Yeah, I'm doing it. So you can do it for 1, 2, 3, or 4. So this is just a method. And up here it says updating. It says seems to be locked, but it seemed to work for us. And then we disconnect. Well, it's always good to read the settings again. And now it'll tell us after we read it if it's normal or reverse. So Nate, which ones do you want? I changed it.
All of them were reversed.
All of them reversed. So let's go back to what they had. All reversed. And then, again, this is like Mission Planner. Just because you do it on the screen doesn't mean that it changes in the ESC. So you have to go to Write Settings. It'll say up here, writing to it. The thing that's saying it's locked doesn't seem to matter. And then I always click Read Settings just to make sure. And we're done. So that's how you change the settings on the speed controller so that in the software you can reverse the direction the prop turns. I always click disconnect, and I always reboot everything. Whenever you're making these firmware changes or setting changes, just disconnect the drone, just disconnect the power and reboot everything, and then it should work. So that's how you change the direction of the motors in software.